Okay. We're in line 81 of Book 1 of the Aeneid. I thought for this video I could go through and give you some tips on the grammar and maybe some meanings of the words, and not translate it fully for you. If you have any questions, you can ask me in class when we see each other. Sort of just give you the structure and some hints. Alright, haec ubi dicta. We just saw the word haec. Remember, it's neuter, plural, so you can say things. Ubi means when, and dicta is an adjective that is neuter, plural, and goes with haec. It's the fourth principal part, which is always going to be having been verbed, right? Cavum conversa cuspide montem. You can hear that alliteration, the C, cavum conversa cuspide montem. Cavum is an accusative adjective. Conversa, if you scanned this, you would see that's a long A, so it's ablative. And cuspide is also ablative, so these things must go together. Montem, accusative. Aha, so it goes back to cavum. So we have that nice A, B, B, A. The A's are cavum and montem, and the B's are conversa and cuspide. A, B, B, A is called chiasmus. Remember? ABBA, the dancing queen, chiasmus. And it has a kind of a word picture, because a montem is a mountain, and mountains surround things. So that's your accusative. And then conversa cuspide is ablative, so you're going to have to use by, with, in, on, from, at, than, with that, whichever one makes most sense. And then impulit, finally we have our verb. When we're talking about Aeolus, he's the subject of this. He just heard that impassioned speech by Juno, and this is his actions that take place afterward. So he impulits the accusative with the ablative. In latus, that's just a simple prepositional phrase. Latus it looks like it's nominative, but of course if it's within, it can't be nominative. It has to be either accusative or ablative. In's the only preposition that takes both. That's not true. It's usually the only one that takes both. So latus has to be nominative, it has to be accusative or ablative. It can't be ablative, so it has to be accusative. And what it is it's actually neuter. It goes latus, lateris. That's my calendar. Latus, lateris. And so the nominative and the accusative are the same because it's neuter. So that tells you where, and we get words like lateral and like your lats. If you work out your lats. That comes from that word. Alright. Ac venti velut agmine facto, qua data porta ruunt et terras turbine perflunt. Good. Ac, we've seen a few times, it's just another way to say and. So remember that. At ac venti, this is your subject. Velut agmine facto. Velut's a great word. It introduces similes. If you see them by themselves, well means or, and ut means so. But if you put them together in a word velut, it means just as or just like. Or you can just say like. So it introduces similes. Like something. And then agmine facto is an ablative absolute, and the book will tell you that. Ablative absolutes are nouns, that's your agmine, and participles, that's your facto, in the ablative case, when the noun had been verbed, or with the noun having been verbed. An agmine facto is a military saying, so we get some sort of military undertones of Aeolus as a commander and the winds as his soldiers. The augment's a good word. It means a column of soldiers, and it's almost exclusively used as this column of soldiers. So you'll see it a lot in Caesar. So just like when something has been somethinged. Qua data porta. Qua just means where. These are both nominative. Porta is really your subject, and data is describing it. It's participle. Again, it's the perfect passive participle, which is the fourth principal part. Having been blanked, right? Where something had been something. Ruunt is your verb. This is what the winds are doing. Et teros turbine perflunt. You kind of ruunt et teros turbine. Lots of T's for your alliteration. It's kind of spitting wild. Teros, AS ending has to be accusative, plural. So that's our direct object. Turbine with an E is our ablative, and the book says it's an ablative of manner. So it tells you how something's done, in what manner it's done. And perflunt is another verb. So they ruunt and they perflunt. And they perflunt the teros because that's your direct object. And then how? Turbine. So it describes how they do it. Ruunt and perflunt are simple present indicative. They do this, they do that. They're just statements, and it's present tense. There's a thing called the vivid present. Normally we would expect to see a past tense, right? Aeolus said this, Juno said that, the winds did this. The vivid present obviously makes it more vivid. Sometimes it's called the historical present. It makes you feel like it's going on at that moment. Incubuere mari. Totumque assedibus imis una iorusque notusque ruunt creberque procelis. Africus, and it keeps going. Alright, incubuere is that syncopated form. Incubuerunt. This is perfect tense. Whenever it's syncopated, it's a perfect tense. And now we're talking about the winds, because of the erunt is they. Instead of Aeolus did something, we're still talking about the winds doing something. Mari is a dative with a compound verb, and that's incubuere. Whenever you add a prefix, not all the time, but a lot of the time, it changes the nature of the verb. So instead of taking an accusative for a direct object, incubuere takes a dative. So it's a dative with a compound word. So incubuere. Et totumque assedibus imis una. We'll start with totum. Totum is accusative. A sedibus imis. Is a prepositional phrase from sedibus imis. Imis is a great word that's going to be used a lot with the ocean. So it's about deepness. So from that, una. And una is another great word to just know because you're going to see it a lot. Una, it's going to have a long A. And it doesn't mean one, it means as one, together, all together. And we're going to see he's going to name off a whole bunch of winds, and they're doing what they're doing, una, as one. So our winds are iorusque, notusque, ruunt's another verb. We just saw it 2 lines above. Creberque. Creber, I can't remember exactly. It's in the section where he's talking about the winds. So we've seen this one recently as well. Creber is nominative, so it has to describe one of these winds. Procelis, the book tells you, is ablative of respect or means. So you're going to say with something. And then Africus, that's our thing that's actually Creber. And so these winds do this, and also the Creber Procelis africus. And wastos, os ending has to be accusative plural. Wolwunt, there's another verb, they do this. Ad litora is a prepositional phrase. Fluctus. This is that fluctus fourth declension that we talked about. It has to go wastos. It doesn't look like it does. It looks like it's probably nominative, but fluctus is fourth declension, so it goes us, ui, o, us, ibus, ibus, and it's that last us. So it goes with wastos. Good. In sequitur, oh, look at that passive ending. Well, it's actually a deponent word, so it's going to look passive, and you're going to have to translate it actively. Clamor is our subject. It's our nominative. It's third declension. There's a que and a que. Virum is genitive, plural, and so is rudentum. So you have a nominative, a genitive, a nominative, and a genitive. This could, you say, be A, B, interlocked word order, because you have nom, gen, nom, gen. Eripiunt is our verb, they do something. Subito is just an adverb. Nubes is the nominative form, it's plural. Caelum is accusative. Que, diem, que, accusative. So the nubes are doing the action to the caelum and the diem. Remember when you have two quays or two ets, you have to say both something and something else. So for line 87 and 88, you have a succession of quays. So both something and something else. Tucrorum. Remember, the tucri are the same thing as Trojans. So that orum ending is the genitive plural. Ex oculis is a nice little prepositional phrase. And it goes back to that last line we had. It's not the beginning of a new line. So it's really eripiunt subito nubes caelumque diemque tucrorum ex oculis. Ponto was an ablative, and we just saw this word earlier, so he's going to repeat a lot of words that we've seen. Nox atra goes together, and incubat is our verb, and it's the same word. We just saw it over here in line 84. In tonueri poli et crebris micat ignibus aeter. And so maybe this is where I was thinking about, where I saw the crebris. Crebris is ablative plural, and it goes with ignibus. Is and ibus often go together. And aeter are nominative. Praesentemque viris intenant omnia mortem. Praesentem is accusative and has to be, and mortem is accusative and has to be. And so these things go together. It's a good example of a enclosed line where the first word and the last word actually go together or modify each other. And this one it's a big one. Praesentem means like immediate, like very present. It's immediate death, like it's surrounding the whole line. It's like an umbrella over it. Viris is dative, so make it dative. And omnia is your subject, it's nominative. It's nominative neuter plural, so omnia, and omnia almost always means this if it's by itself, all things or everything, because of that neuter. And then here in line 92, we get our first view of Aeneas, the first time his name is ever mentioned in this whole thing, which is named after him and about him. So we will do this part in class. It's very important. Virgil, it's very specific about the way he talks about the very first time you meet Aeneas. All right. So let me know if you have any questions in class about that last part and how to translate it.